Have you ever wondered what an 80-year-old would say to their 50-year-old self? What lessons would they pass down? After living through decades of triumphs, losses, and unexpected turns, I've learned a lot. Some things the hard way. At 80, I'm here to share 8 life-changing lessons that I wish I had known when I was your age. These are the kinds of things that, if I'd understood them earlier, could have saved me a lot of heartache. But they're also lessons that might just change your life too. Now, here's the kicker. The 8th lesson is the one that had the greatest impact on me. It's the one that really changed everything. But we'll save that for later. Stick around, and I promise it'll be worth it. Before we get into the lessons, if you're enjoying this so far, go ahead and hit subscribe. That way, you won't miss any more insights or stories that can help you live a fuller, more meaningful life. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. All right, let's dive into the first lesson. When I was in my 50s, I didn't take my health seriously. I worked too hard, ate whatever I wanted, and pushed myself too much. I thought I was invincible, that I had time to deal with my health later. At the time, I believed I was just doing what was necessary to keep up with life. But looking back, I realize how much I neglected my body. In your 50s, life can feel like a balancing act, juggling your career, family, and everything else. Health, though important, often takes a back seat. You tell yourself, there's always time for exercise later, or I don't need to worry about what I eat because I'm not old enough for it to matter yet. But trust me, the small decisions you make today, the food you eat, the exercise you do or don't do, the sleep you get, all add up. Time catches up with you, even when you think you've got it under control. In my 50s, I was running on adrenaline, busy building my career, raising my kids, and trying to meet everyone's expectations. I didn't think twice about skipping meals or eating fast food, thinking it was just part of the grind. I didn't realize the long-term consequences of those choices. I thought my body could handle it, that I was too young to worry. But as the years went by, I started feeling the toll of those habits. Walking upstairs, playing with my grandkids, simple things suddenly became harder. I didn't sleep well, had trouble staying awake during the day, and constantly felt tired. Even basic tasks felt like a struggle. That's when the wake-up call came. It was a series of small moments, doctor's warnings, difficulty getting out of bed, aching joints, that made me realize how much I had taken my health for granted. By the time I hit my 60s, I had already paid the price for those years of neglect. I developed high blood pressure, became overweight, and faced joint problems that still affect me today. I wish I had started taking better care of myself much earlier. Looking back, I regret not making time for exercise, not paying attention to my diet, and not focusing on my mental health. If there's one thing I wish I could tell my younger self, it's this. Your health is your foundation. Without it, nothing else matters. No amount of success or wealth can make up for a body that's not healthy enough to enjoy life. We often overlook our health until it's too late, and it's easy to ignore the small declines until they build up. If you want to live well into your later years, whether it's playing with your grandkids, traveling, or simply enjoying life pain-free, you need to make your health a priority today, not later. I didn't realize how important it was to pay attention to my health until I was already facing the consequences. But it's never too late to start making changes. Even in your 50s, you can turn things around. Small changes add up. You don't have to do everything at once. The key is consistency. Start small. Take a 10-minute walk every day. Replace one unhealthy snack with something better. Make sleep a priority. Drink more water. Start listening to your body and notice what it needs. The earlier you begin, the better your chances of avoiding chronic health issues down the road. And even if you've been neglecting your health, it's never too late to take better care of yourself. Your body will thank you in the years to come. Another crucial part of health is your mental well-being. Stress, anxiety, and emotional health can be just as damaging as physical health problems. When I was younger, I didn't realize how much my mental strain affected my body. The constant stress of balancing work and family, coupled with the pressure I put on myself, made things worse. Today I've learned that taking care of my mind is just as important as taking care of my body. Meditation, deep breathing, and even just taking time each day to unplug and relax are essential for staying healthy. Your mental and physical health are closely connected. You can't neglect one without affecting the other. So, what can you do today to take better care of yourself? Start by making your health a priority. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Small steps are enough. As I've learned, those small steps add up over time. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to take action. I often think about how I could have done things differently, but I've learned that it's better to start today than to wait. So don't wait for a health scare or a doctor's warning. Start taking care of yourself now. The choices you make today will determine how well you live tomorrow. If you want to enjoy life in your later years, take care of your health now. And remember, it's never too late to begin. The sooner you start, the more you'll be able to enjoy a healthy, active, and fulfilling life as you grow older. In your 50s, you're probably thinking a lot about your career, whether you're happy with where you are or wondering if it's too late to make a change. I can tell you, I spent many years chasing success, thinking that climbing the corporate ladder or earning a bigger paycheck would bring me the happiness I was looking for. For a long time, I believed that success was the ultimate goal. But what I learned too late is that success means nothing if you're not passionate about what you do. Looking back, I realize how much time I spent focused on the wrong things. I was always in a rush to achieve more, get promoted, make more money, prove myself. But I wasn't asking myself the right question. Does this work bring me joy? Does it give me purpose? I remember working long hours, taking on extra projects, always feeling like I was on the go. But inside, I wasn't truly fulfilled. I was doing what was expected of me, not what I truly wanted to do. And that's where many of us get stuck. For years, I thought success was about external validation, being recognized, earning more, holding a title. But over time, I realized that none of that mattered if I didn't feel connected to my work, if I didn't feel like I was making a difference, if I wasn't doing something that made me excited to get up in the morning. When I finally decided to pursue work I loved, that's when I found fulfillment. It wasn't about the paycheck anymore. It wasn't about status. It was about purpose. I switched careers in my 60s, and it wasn't easy. It was risky, and I had my doubts. But looking back, it was the best decision I ever made. I started doing work I felt passionate about, and the difference was night and day. I woke up every day excited, motivated, engaged. I felt like I was contributing to something bigger than myself. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, isn't it too late for me to change careers? But I'm here to tell you, it's never too late. Even in your 50s, you still have so much time to do something meaningful, to make a change, and align your work with your values and passions. If your work doesn't feel meaningful to you, it might be time to reconsider your path. Life is too short to spend on things that don't bring you joy or purpose. You don't need to make a drastic change overnight, but small adjustments can make a huge difference. Start by asking yourself, what parts of my work do I enjoy? What parts do I dislike? Focus on what excites you and think about how you can do more of that. Even within your current job, you can make shifts towards something that feels more aligned with who you are. Maybe it's taking on a new project, learning a new skill, or helping out in a different department. If you feel stuck, it's okay to step out of your comfort zone. Taking risks and pursuing what feels right, even if it's scary, is part of living a fulfilling life. You're never too old to make a change. Don't wait until retirement to start doing what you truly care about. Let me tell you, when I started doing work I loved, it felt like I had found a second wind. It wasn't just about getting the job done, it was about feeling connected to what I was doing, making an impact, and waking up with a sense of purpose every day. That's the kind of work that sustains you in the long run. The reality is, we spend a significant portion of our lives at work. If you're spending that time doing something that doesn't bring you joy or fulfillment, you're wasting precious years of your life. The last thing you want is to look back and regret not pursuing what you truly loved. So ask yourself, what do you want your work to look like for the next 10, 20, or 30 years? Don't let fear hold you back. Start small, take it one step at a time, but always move toward a career that feels right for you. You have the power to make a change, even in your 50s. And when you're doing something that brings you joy, everything else starts to fall into place. Your work doesn't just become a job, it becomes a part of your purpose. And that's the secret to living a truly fulfilling life. The people around you are everything. When I was younger, I thought that work and money were my top priorities. I was so focused on building my career, achieving success, and accumulating wealth that I didn't give much thought to the relationships I had. I was always busy, chasing promotions, meeting deadlines, and trying to keep up with the demands of life. But what I've come to realize, especially as I got older, is that the real wealth in life is in the relationships you build. Looking back, I see how much I took my family and friends for granted. I was so absorbed in my work that I didn't make time for the people who truly mattered. I missed out on birthdays, family dinners, and special moments that I now realize I'll never get back. I thought I had all the time in the world to nurture those relationships, but time slips away faster than you think. My greatest joys in life now come from the people I've shared my journey with, my family, my friends, and the love I've been fortunate enough to experience. When I think about what truly makes life worth living, it's not the titles or the paychecks, it's the connections, the laughter shared with loved ones, and the support we give each other through thick and thin. I wish I had invested more time in those relationships when I was younger. I wish I had realized sooner that success at work means nothing if you don't have people to share it with. I thought I was building a future, but in the process, I neglected the people who should have been the most important part of that future. Now, looking back, I see that all those long hours at the office didn't bring me the happiness I thought they would. The promotions, the raises, the accolades, they were fleeting. But the love of my family and the deep bonds of friendship, those are the things that have stayed with me. Those are the moments I look back on with a full heart. So, let me tell you something important. Don't wait until it's too late to show people you care. Life is too precious, and relationships are too fragile to take for granted. I spent too many years putting work first and not spending enough time with the people who love me. And now, I can't go back and change that. The people who care about you won't always be there. So make sure you don't miss the chance to appreciate them while you can. When I was younger, I didn't think much about the impact my actions had on those around me. But as I've gotten older, I've learned that the little things matter most. It's the phone call to check in, the hug when you see someone after a long time, the note that says, "I'm thinking of you." It's the moments that might seem small, but they leave a lasting impression. And let me tell you something else. It's never too late to start. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can always build stronger, deeper relationships. Start today. Call that friend you've been meaning to reach out to. Spend more time with your family. Make an effort to truly connect with the people in your life. And don't take them for granted. It's never too late to start putting people first. Over the years, I've come to appreciate quality over quantity in relationships. It's not about how many people are in your life. It's about the depth of those connections. You don't need 1,000 friends. You just need a few people who truly have your back. The ones who will be there for you when things get tough, who will celebrate your successes, and who will stand by you no matter what. Those are the people who matter. In my 80 years, I've had the privilege of building some of the most meaningful relationships of my life, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. My family is my rock, and my friends are my lifeline. We've shared so much together. Good times, bad times, and everything in between. And those shared experiences are what make the bonds so strong. But it's not just about family and close friends. It's also about being kind and showing up for others. I've learned that small acts of kindness, even towards strangers, can make a big difference. You never know how much someone needs a kind word, a smile, or a helping hand. Sometimes those small gestures can lead to lifelong connections that you never expected. As you think about your own relationships, I want to ask you, are you making time for the people who truly matter to you? Are you nurturing those relationships, or are you letting them slip away in the rush of life? Take a step back and ask yourself if you're prioritizing the people who love and support you. In the end, it's these relationships that will give you the greatest sense of fulfillment. When everything else fades away, it's the people you love and the people who love you that will remain. So, make sure you don't let time slip by without appreciating them. One thing I've learned is that nothing stays the same. Life is full of change, whether it's in your career, family, or health. Change is constant, and no matter how much you try to avoid it, it will eventually find its way into your life. The key is to learn how to adapt to it, to face it head on, and to make it work for you instead of letting it overwhelm you. When I was younger, I resisted change. I was comfortable with the way things were. My routine was predictable, and I didn't want anything to disrupt that. Change felt unsettling. I thought that if I just held on tight to what I knew, I could avoid the discomfort that comes with change. But over time, I realized change is inevitable. And it's not just something to accept, it's something to embrace. You see, life doesn't stop moving. People move away, jobs change, relationships evolve, and even our bodies change. I spent many years trying to hold on to the past, thinking it would bring me comfort or stability. But the more I tried to keep things the same, the more I found myself fighting against the natural flow of life. I've had to make several big adjustments in my life, moving to new places, changing careers, letting go of people I thought would always be there. Every time, it felt like the world was shifting under my feet. But with each change, I learned something new about myself and the world around me. The more I embraced these changes, the stronger I became. For example, when I moved to a new city in my 40s, I was terrified. I had spent my whole life in one place, surrounded by the same people, working the same job. The thought of starting over was overwhelming, but I did it. And looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. It pushed me out of my comfort zone, forced me to meet new people, and opened up opportunities that I would have never experienced if I had stayed in the same place. Changing careers was another major shift. I had spent decades in one industry, thinking it was the only path for me. But after years of hard work, I started feeling restless. I realized that I wasn't passionate about what I was doing anymore. Making the leap to a new career was daunting and risky, but it brought a new sense of purpose and joy. And with that change came a fresh perspective on life itself. But change doesn't always come from choice. Sometimes life throws unexpected curveballs, health issues, the loss of a loved one, or the end of a relationship. These changes can feel the hardest to cope with. And I've been through my share of them. It's painful, it's difficult, but in the hardest moments, I learned some of the most valuable lessons. Those are the moments when we grow the most, even when it doesn't feel like it at the time. I learned that you don't have to have everything figured out. Change doesn't always bring immediate answers or resolutions. Sometimes it brings new questions and challenges, and that's okay. The key is to stay flexible. Life is full of twists and turns, and the more open you are to the unexpected, the more you'll find yourself capable of handling whatever comes your way. Some of the happiest moments of my life came after major changes that felt uncomfortable or even scary at first. The first time I took a risk and embraced something new, it felt like jumping into the unknown. But as I learned to adapt, I realized that change didn't have to be feared. It was an opportunity to reinvent myself, to see life in a new light, and to grow in ways I never imagined. If you want to live a fulfilling life, you need to embrace change, even when it feels uncomfortable. Change doesn't always feel good in the moment, but it's in the toughest moments that you learn the most. Every change is an opportunity to grow, to become more resilient, and to discover new parts of yourself. The sooner you realize that, the easier it will be to navigate life's inevitable twists and turns. Now, I know it's not always easy to embrace change. It's human to feel resistance, to want to hold on to the familiar. But I've learned that when you try to resist change, it only makes things harder. Change is like a river. It's going to flow whether you like it or not. But if you can learn to flow with it, to go with the current instead of fighting against it, you'll find that life becomes a lot more manageable. So ask yourself, what changes are you avoiding right now? Is there something in your life that's calling for a shift? Maybe it's a change in your job, a relationship, or a personal habit that's no longer serving you. Whatever it is, don't be afraid to take the first step toward embracing it. Life is constantly evolving, and so are you. The more you adapt, the more you grow. Embrace the changes in your life, big and small. They're not obstacles, they're opportunities. It's through these changes that we become the people we're meant to be. At 80, I've learned the hard way that forgiveness isn't just for the other person, it's for you. For years, I thought holding on to my anger, my hurt, and my grudges made me stronger. I believed that by keeping my pain close, I was protecting myself, guarding against being hurt again. But the truth is, I was only holding myself back. There was a time in my life when I was filled with resentment. People had wronged me, situations left me feeling betrayed, and mistakes made by others deeply affected my life. I thought, if I just hold on to this anger, if I don't forgive, I'll never be hurt again. I thought forgiveness meant letting people off the hook or accepting their actions. But I couldn't have been more wrong. Holding on to anger didn't protect me. It weighed me down. It consumed my thoughts, my energy, and my peace. I carried the burden of old grudges, day after day, year after year, and it drained me. It wasn't until much later that I truly understood the power of forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning what happened or forgetting the hurt. It means choosing peace over pain. It's about releasing the weight that's holding you back. Forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about freeing yourself from anger and bitterness. Let me tell you, it took me a long time to learn this. There were moments when the pain felt so deep, the injustice so great, that I thought I couldn't forgive. I believed that holding on to my anger was somehow making me strong, but what I didn't realize was that the person suffering the most was me. I was carrying that burden every single day. When I finally decided to let go of the hurt, I felt lighter. It was as if a weight I didn't even realize I was carrying had been lifted. The anger and resentment that had built up over the years melted away, and with it, I found a new sense of freedom to move forward. Forgiveness doesn't mean you excuse the behavior or forget what happened. It means you choose to stop letting the past control you. You choose to take your power back. But forgiveness isn't just for the people who've wronged you. It's also for yourself. We often think forgiving others means letting them off the hook. But in reality, it's more about freeing yourself. Holding on to grudges keeps you stuck in a cycle of pain and bitterness. Letting go of that anger gives you the chance to live a life that's lighter, freer, and more peaceful. I've learned that forgiving yourself is just as important. There were many times when I blamed myself for things that went wrong. I carried guilt, regret, and self-blame, thinking it would make me a better person. But all it did was weigh me down and prevent me from moving forward. Forgiving yourself is one of the hardest things you can do, but it's also one of the most important. Letting go of the past and giving yourself the grace to move on is key to living in the present and embracing the future. Don't wait until it's too late to forgive, whether it's someone else or yourself. Life is too short to live with anger and regret. You don't have to carry that burden. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. It's one of the greatest gifts you can ever give. Forgiving someone else doesn't mean you have to continue the relationship with them or forget what they did. It simply means you're choosing peace over turmoil, release over resentment. Forgiving yourself means you can move on and embrace a life full of love, joy, and peace. Letting go of the pain is a gift you can give yourself. Trust me, it's one of the greatest gifts you'll ever receive. The longer you hold on to anger, the more it eats away at your peace. Let it go, and you'll find yourself moving forward in ways you never thought possible. I know it's not easy. It takes time, courage, and a willingness to look at your own heart and say, I'm done carrying this burden, but I promise you, forgiveness will change your life. It will set you free in a way that nothing else can. So, if there's someone you need to forgive, or something you need to forgive yourself for, don't wait any longer. Forgive, let go, and choose peace. Life moves quickly, and if you're not careful, it's easy to look back with regret. We often think we have all the time in the world, but the truth is, time slips away faster than we realize. And before you know it, you're looking back, wishing you had taken more chances, spent more time with the people who matter, or pursued those dreams you set aside. I've had my share of regrets, times when I worked too much, didn't take enough risks, or failed to express my love to those who mattered most. I missed out on opportunities because I was too scared to take a chance, and I wasted too much time worrying about what others thought of me. I thought I had all the time in the world, but life doesn't work that way. For years, I worked myself into the ground, thinking that if I just pushed harder, if I just worked a little longer, everything would eventually fall into place. But what I didn't realize was that when you spend all your time focused on work, you miss out on the moments that really matter. You miss the people you love, the experiences you could have, and the dreams you could be chasing. I also spent too many years playing it safe, afraid of failure. I didn't want to look foolish or make mistakes. But here's what I've learned. You'll never regret taking a chance on life. The things you'll regret are the things you didn't do, the risks you didn't take, the dreams you didn't follow, the people you didn't tell you love them. When I look back, my biggest regrets aren't the mistakes I made, but the things I didn't do, the chances I passed up because I was too scared, the relationships I didn't fully embrace because I was too busy, the opportunities I missed because I was waiting for the perfect moment. And here's the thing, regrets are part of life. We all have them, but regrets don't have to define us. What matters is what we do with them. What matters is how you move forward and what you choose to do now, while you still have time. Regret comes from living in the past, wishing you had done things differently. But the truth is, you can't change the past. What you can change is what you do today. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It never comes. There's always an excuse, something in the way. But if you keep waiting for the right time, you might miss the opportunity altogether. Stop waiting. Start living today. Take those chances you've been putting off, chase those dreams you've been too afraid to pursue, and don't hold back. Life is too short to wait for the perfect moment. You have everything you need right now to start living the life you want. The only thing standing in your way is your own fear. If you've been putting something off because you're scared, take that first step. It doesn't have to be big, and it doesn't have to be perfect. What matters is that you start. You start living for yourself. You start doing the things that make you happy, and you start embracing the moments that bring you joy. You can't wait for life to come to you. You have to go out and make it happen. I'm not saying you should throw caution to the wind and be reckless. What I'm saying is that the biggest regret is not trying. It's not stepping out of your comfort zone and seeing what could happen. Taking risks doesn't mean being reckless. It means choosing to live fully, without the fear of failure holding you back. Whether it's changing careers, traveling to a new place, or simply telling someone how much they mean to you, don't let fear keep you from living your best life. The truth is, none of us are promised tomorrow. So why waste today being afraid? Take the risk, and I promise you'll never regret trying. I know it's not always easy. We get stuck in routines, we get comfortable, and we forget how to dream. But that's where the magic happens. In those moments when we take a chance, when we step out of the familiar and into the unknown. That's when we grow, that's when we learn, and that's when we make the most of our time here. So, if there's something you've been putting off, whether it's a dream, a goal, or simply telling someone how much they mean to you, do it now. Don't wait. The longer you wait, the more you'll regret not taking action sooner. For many years, I lived my life just going through the motions. I got a job, started a family, paid bills, and tried to keep up with the daily grind. I thought that was enough. I believed that by following society's script, I would eventually find fulfillment. But somewhere along the way, I lost sight of what truly mattered to me. I forgot to ask myself, what makes me happy? What do I really want from life? For a long time, I was like a robot, just ticking off boxes on a to-do list, doing what was expected, but not really living. I focused on obligations and responsibilities, thinking that success meant simply getting things done. But the truth is, living like that isn't enough. You need something deeper. You need something that drives you, something that makes each day feel meaningful. It wasn't until later in life that I realized living with purpose isn't just about checking things off a list. It's about making each day count. When I was younger, success for me meant working hard, accumulating wealth, and building a family. Those things are important, but they didn't give me the sense of fulfillment I was searching for. I didn't feel truly alive. I didn't feel like I was doing something that mattered in a way that went beyond simply fulfilling my responsibilities. As I got older, I began to understand that purpose isn't about meeting others' expectations. It's about living in alignment with your own values and passions. We all go through life searching for that sense of purpose, but we get distracted by the busyness of it all. We get caught up in the grind and forget to ask ourselves, what is it that makes me feel alive? What truly excites me? Here's the thing. When you have a purpose, even the hard days feel worth it. Purpose gives you something to hold on to when life isn't going your way. It's the fuel that keeps you going during tough times. It gives you the strength to push through obstacles and keep moving forward, even when everything feels impossible. Living with purpose doesn't mean everything is easy. Life will always have its challenges, but when you know why you're doing what you're doing, it makes everything else more manageable. You stop seeing life as something you just have to get through, and you start seeing it as something you want to embrace. And the best part? Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be about changing the world or achieving something monumental. For me, my purpose is about being present with the people I love, sharing my experiences, and making a difference in small, meaningful ways. Maybe your purpose is about helping others, creating something beautiful, or simply living with gratitude and joy. Whatever it is, it should be something that excites you, that makes you eager to get up every morning. When you live with purpose, you don't just exist. You live fully. You feel like your life has direction, like your actions have meaning. And you start to realize that purpose isn't always about achieving big things. Sometimes it comes from doing the small things with intention and passion. It's about living each day with a sense of meaning, no matter how small or ordinary it may seem. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that you don't need to have everything figured out. Life doesn't give us a roadmap. You won't always know exactly where you're headed, and that's okay. But you do need a sense of direction. Without it, life can feel like a blur, like you're drifting along. When you know where you're headed, even on the tough days, it gives you the strength to keep moving forward. The key is to start. It doesn't matter how old you are or where you are in life. It's never too late to find your purpose. It's never too late to start living with intention, to start pursuing what makes you feel alive. If you haven't figured out your purpose yet, that's okay. Start small. Ask yourself, what brings me joy? What do I care about? And then take one small step toward it. I know it's not always easy. Life can feel overwhelming, and sometimes it's hard to know where to begin. But trust me, the journey is worth it. Finding your purpose is a lifelong process, and along the way, you'll discover new passions, new meanings, and new ways to connect with the world. Living with purpose doesn't mean you have everything figured out. It means having a sense of direction, and that direction will give your life meaning. Whether in your work, your relationships, or how you spend your time, when you have purpose, everything else falls into place. So ask yourself, what is your purpose? If you're not sure yet, that's perfectly fine. The important thing is that you're asking the question. Start today by living with intention, focusing on what matters most to you, and doing the things that make you feel alive. When you do that, your life will start to have more meaning, and you'll find a sense of fulfillment that you might have been missing. And now, the 8th lesson, the one that had the greatest impact on me. This is the lesson I want you to remember long after this video ends, because in my 80 years, I've learned that gratitude is the key to a fulfilled life. When I was younger, I focused so much on what I didn't have, what I thought I needed to be happy. I thought I needed more money, more recognition, a bigger house, a more prestigious job. I was always chasing something, constantly striving for the next milestone, the next achievement, the next possession. I believed happiness could only come from getting more. But after 8 decades of living, I now know this. Happiness isn't about getting more. It's about appreciating what you already have. Looking back, I see how much time I spent focusing on what was missing in my life, on what I thought would make me feel complete. I spent so much energy thinking about what I didn't have that I forgot to appreciate the blessings already in my life. Gratitude didn't come easily to me back then, but over time, I've learned how powerful it is. When I started practicing gratitude, my entire outlook on life changed. I stopped focusing on what I lacked and began to appreciate what I already had: my health, my family, my friends, the simple pleasures of life. I realized happiness wasn't about waiting for perfect circumstances. It was about choosing to be happy with what I already had. I used to think I'd only be happy when I reached certain goals, but even after achieving them, the happiness didn't last. I was already thinking about the next thing, but now I understand. Happiness isn't about chasing more. It's about living in the moment, appreciating what you have right now. You don't need to wait for everything to be perfect to feel grateful. You don't need the perfect job, the perfect relationship, or the perfect amount of money. Start right where you are, with what you already have. Look around and recognize the blessings in your life, the people you love, your health, the simple moments that bring you joy. Gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. It brings peace and contentment that you can't find by chasing after more. Life feels richer, more fulfilling, and more joyful when you learn to appreciate what's already here. I encourage you, especially if you are in your 50s or beyond, to practice gratitude every day. It doesn't need to be big or complicated. Start small. Take a moment to appreciate something simple: the warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of laughter, or a quiet moment to yourself. Over time, you'll notice a shift in how you see the world. One of the most powerful ways to practice gratitude is to share it with others. Take time to express thanks, to tell someone you appreciate them. Not only will it brighten their day, but it will deepen your own sense of gratitude. Living with gratitude isn't just about feeling thankful. It's about choosing to live with intention. It's about recognizing that every day is a gift. Yes, we all face challenges. We all experience pain. But gratitude helps us see beyond the difficulties and find beauty even in the hardest moments. It's the ability to look at life's ups and downs and still say, "I'm grateful for this day." Gratitude doesn't eliminate the struggles we face, but it changes how we experience them. It brings perspective and gives us the strength to keep going. It makes us realize that life, no matter how hard, is still worth living. The more we practice gratitude, the more we realize we already have everything we need to be happy. So, take a moment today, right now, to be thankful. Be thankful for your health, for the people you love, for the small moments of joy you experience each day. This moment, right now, is a gift. Don't wait until it's too late to appreciate it. Gratitude is the key to living a life full of peace, joy, and contentment. It's the foundation of happiness. When you live with gratitude, everything else falls into place. The struggles become more manageable, the joys feel more abundant, and you begin to see just how blessed you truly are. This is the most important lesson I can give you, and it's the one I hope you carry with you for the rest of your life. Live with gratitude, and everything else will fall into place. So, there you have it. 8 life lessons that have shaped who I am today. Each one has taught me something valuable, and I hope they've inspired you in some way. But if there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's this. No matter what life throws at you, there's always something to be grateful for. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment, because the truth is, there's no such thing. Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Start today. Live fully. Be present. Appreciate the little things. Time is precious, and we never know how much of it we have. Don't waste it waiting for things to be just right before you start living the life you want. Take action now. Chase your dreams. Be grateful for everything you already have in this moment. Remember, life is a gift. Live it with intention, and everything else will fall into place.